Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online series 12 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're trying out a restricted duel that I think is very uncommon at the moment, and it features a very cool support Pokemon in Alcremie. So this is built by a Japanese player called Coco, who I've linked down in the description below. There's a rental and a paste for the team if you want to try it out yourselves, and they had built it for the March International Challenge. So as always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps linked in the description below. And thanks so much as always for watching. If you do enjoy, please show your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. So, Alcremie. What's the deal with Alcremie? Decorate is a really powerful attack that can, boost your sweepers and allow them to just pick up big one-hit knockouts, especially when Dynamaxed. And so the main mode with this team is that you use Volcarona, for redirection support, get Trick Room up with Dialga, bring in Alcremie, and then just start decorating Dialga. And you'll note here that Dialga actually has Steel Beam, Earth Power, Protect, and Trick Room. There's no Dragon type attack. And part of the reason for that is because Steel plus Ground just gives you really good coverage in this format. So with the combination of those, you don't necessarily need a Dragon type attack. Do keep in mind that this does kind of hinder you a little bit against a lot of flying type Pokemon that are common in the format, things like Charizard or Thundurus or Ho-Oh to a lesser extent as well. And so you do have to be careful about that. But generally the idea is if you are able to get Trick Room up, Dialga outspeeds a lot of the most common Pokemon under Trick Room actually, and then Alcremie can just decorate it and allow you to pick up big knockouts. Part of the reason why getting up Trick Room is important is because the Alcremie actually underspeeds Dialga and Yveltal on this team. So if you get Trick Room up, then you'll be able to decorate before you actually move with either of those Pokemon. Whereas if you don't have Trick Room up, you can decorate, but it won't actually go into effect until, the subsequent turn for that given Pokemon. So the main mode, like I mentioned, use Volcarona, redirection, get the Trick Room ups, try to get as much mileage with Dialga as possible, and then use Yveltal to clean up things in the end game. Solvus Yveltal, really good Dynamax option, but also a really strong non-Dynamax option. And the thing about AV Yveltal is that it typically doesn't do that much damage, but after a single decorate, this thing is so difficult to deal with, right? Because you've got the Snarl to decrease your opponent's special attacks, and you've got Oblivion Wing to consistently heal up as well. The other thing to note here is that the Alcremie does have the safety goggle, so you actually don't have to worry about something like an Amoonguss redirecting your Decorate away, which is really nice and also gives you some more insurance against opposing Venusaurs. And Venusaur is actually a Pokemon that's really trended upwards once again in the last couple of weeks, especially with the European International Championships, which took place recently. To round out the team, you've got a slightly faster mode with Landorus as well as the Regieleki. This, just means that you're not always reliant on setting up Trick Room. The thing with Dialga, Yveltal, and Volcarona, and even Alcremie to an extent, is that they're not all super slow Pokemon. In fact, their base speeds are all actually pretty decent. So you don't always need to get Trick Room up to succeed with this team, right? And so with Landorus, with Choice Scarf, this allows for you to have Intimidate and allows you to pivot out as well. For example, one mode you could go with this Landorus Dialga lead, pressure with Earthquake immediately into Telepathy max moves, or just U-turn out into Alcremie, set up Trick Room, and then go from there. Regieleki, just one of the most consistent options in the format and gives you Electro Web pressure as well. And so, there are other modes where you can just go with Lando, Leki, Yveltal, and Dialga, for example. But the general goal is to just get a single Decorate off. If you get one Decorate off on a very healthy restricted mod in Dialga and Yveltal, that typically will put you in a really good position. And if you're in a spot where you can get multiple Decorates off, the restricted Pokemon will often just overwhelm your opponent with offense. Keep in mind, though, that Alcremie's damage output is very, very insignificant, and it just doesn't do very much other than Decorate and Helping Hand, right? And so you don't want to put your main Pokemon that you're decorating in a spot where, it's just going to get knocked out. So ideally, that's why getting up Trick Room is important normally, because you want to outpace your opponent, outspeed your opponent. So make a judgment call as to whether or not you can outspeed your opponent. If not, then Trick Room might be, the right approach. And then Aleki Lando, I think, is really helpful into a lot of the Zacian, Kyogre, Zacian, Charizard, Groudon teams that you occasionally see, or often see. Those are still two of the most common archetypes in the format at the moment. So excited to try out a restricted duo that's not nearly as common, and then also an Alcremie strategy, which we just have not used in a very long time. So thanks as always for watching. Like I said, details for the team are in the description below. And with us trying out Alcremie, I want to know what support Pokemon you think is currently underrated at the moment. Let me know in the comment section below, and let's get started. Alright, we're actually up against Lunala Groudon for the first game here, so yeah, I expect this archetype to continue to rise up, as I had just mentioned it and featured it in the last week. So Yveltal is actually really good against this archetype, and they're probably going to rely on playing towards Thundurus as a result. I'm very much down for the main strat of Volcarona Dialga, set up Trick Room, and then use Alcremie to boost Yveltal and Dialga under Trick Room. Lando, I have to be really careful about bringing because they have Thundurus with Defiant potentially. It's not really even that good damage-wise, and I'm not going to max it here. And Aleki is also not that good here because Venu just causes it a lot of problems. Groudon causes a lot of problems. I don't do that much damage to Lunala. And I can't, like, one approach you could make in an adjustment in a best of 3 would be, like, bring Aleki, Dynamax, and then Max Lightning into Dynamax Thundurus, because, like, even at +1 speed from Thundurus from Max Airstream, you can still outspeed them. But it's a very specific kind of condition. We're going to go with Thundurus and Lunala. So one thing to note here is that Dialga actually doesn't have great damage output into the Thundurus, but that's fine. I'm just going to go for Rage Powder turn 1 into Trick Room. Because we don't have Max Wormwind, I have to be a little bit careful about whether or not I want to Dynamax Dialga. But the thing is, a +2 Life Form Max Steel Spike actually still does a ton of damage into Dynamax Thundurus, so that could be acceptable. The idea here is to just get Trick Room up on turn 1, get them to Dynamax. I actually think double protecting turn 1 here was also a really strong option. In fact, it may have been better. Because it baits out a Thundurus Dynamax, and if they commit Meteor Beam immediately, then they don't have that pressure into Volk on turn 2. There's actually going to be a no Dynamax from either, okay. Fly immediately, okay. And just Moongeist Beam, I have to say, that was not the option I expected. Honestly, I don't think it's that bad for me. Okay. I don't think I want to Dynamax this turn, though. Struggle Bug, break Shadow Shield. I could see them reversing Trick Room here. So maybe it is actually okay to Dynamax. And then Steel Spike into Lunala. I think I like that. Because, going for a turn 1 fly there, by the way, I really like, because if I had Dynamaxed my Dialga and had just gone for an attack there, the thing about Dialga is that it's so much weaker out of Dynamax, but it's so strong in Dynamax. So wasting even a single turn of Dialga's Max honestly goes such a long way when you're fighting against it. Okay, nice. Get the Struggle Bug off. Lower special attack, and more importantly, break Shadow Shield. Now, I don't think Steel Spike will KO here, but that's fine. Getting a defense boost here is also quite nice. Ooh, sorry Dialga, I underestimated you. I mean, it is Life Orb base 140 Steel Spike, but I feel like with Lunala, I'm just so used to it surviving everything. That's really good for us, though. Okay. I don't even think Volk will faint here thanks to the berry, and funnily enough, this is one of the positions where I do want it to faint just to get a free switch in into Alcremie. Yeah. Okay. Or Life Orb, no Flame Body, that's fine. I might just hard switch Volk out into Alcremie this next turn. I could also just Rage Powder, obviously. They bring in Incin, okay. That's totally fine with me. Defense boost, I've got this Life Form Max Quake. I think here I'm down to just go for Rage Powder. And then Quake into Incin. Could be Goggles Incin, I suppose, but if it is, so be it. I don't really care. Alright, they just click Fake Out. Does that KO me? It's so awkward. Like, I want Alcremie to just come in right now for free. I don't know what Thundurus is going for here either. And there's Shuka. Okay. Because the main goal with this team is to actually get the Alcremie in, but, like, because my opponent hasn't knocked out Volcarona, I could have just made the hard switch this turn, I suppose. Hopefully Thundurus will just take care of it here. But, nope, they break into Dialga. Okay. 2 turns of Trick Room left. I'm actually thinking about the hard switch right now. Getting damage on a Thundurus also is probably not a bad idea. Like, I'm actually down to Flamethrower Thundurus here and Steel Spike into Incin, because Steel Spike should KO Incin. If they Parting Shot go into Groudon, it just takes so much damage. Okay, it's Burning Jealousy. I will finally get Alcremie out, but ideally Alcremie is out like during your first turn of Dynamax, and unfortunately that was not the case in this game. So that makes things a little bit more interesting. But Dialga being at +2 defense is obviously quite valuable here. Okay. I'm just going to Brick Break again. I have never seen a regular Thundurus stick around for as long as it has. Let's bring out the Alcremie now. So Groudon should be their last one. Yep. I'm really curious how fast Groudon is here. I'm also like thinking about just going for Decorate plus Steel Beam into Groudon, but I don't think that's a KO. So we could just go for the knockout onto the Thundurus. Last turn of Trick Room. Because like Thundurus Wild Charge into Yveltal is actually a pretty big problem. So yeah, honestly here I'm not opposed to just Decorate and then just KO the Thundurus. Then they presumably Max Quick KO Dialga, and I bring in Yveltal for free. And then it's Yveltal plus Alcremie against Dynamax Groudon. To which I can Decorate into Oblivion Wing. Oh, they actually max Thundurus. Okay. How well do you take a +2 Life Orb max Steel Beam? Is the question now. Groudon protects. Okay. This is looking pretty good now. This is looking even better than I'd expected it to, because I can Sucker Punch Thundurus as well. So Alcremie gets the Decorate off. Steel Beam connects. Oh my gosh. That is so satisfying. Wow. I wasn't even making that prediction. Like, I was expecting Groudon to Dynamax there. And this works out so nicely, right? Because now it gets the free switching into Yveltal. I can still definitely lose this, though, with Rock Slide and Swords Dance on Groudon. If they don't have Swords Dance, I think it'll be pretty tough. So let's see. But Swords Dance Citrus is pretty standard on these comps. So now we can Decorate into Yveltal and Oblivion Wing. And the nice thing is that Yveltal is slower here, or at least it should be. Okay, they just Rock Slide. So basically playing around flinches right now. I need to avoid 2, basically. Okay. There's one. That's a little bit scary. If they get another one, I actually just lose, right? Yeah, that one did like 90 damage. Okay. Uh-oh. Well, I'm gonna get Helping Hand Oblivion Wing here. Like, if we lose to double Rock Slide flinch, so be it. They have to hit the Rock Slides and flinch too, right? Okay, no flinch. That would have been so sad. I mean, we don't KO Groudon here, but I think this should be enough to win the game now. Oh my gosh! That was a crit. Okay, I'm pretty sure we don't get the KO without the crit. I'm so glad, though, because I was like, I need to get Alcremie in, I need to get Alcremie in. How am I going to actually get value out of it? Especially, like, no Trick Room, or one turn of Trick Room left, no more Dynamax left, but, yeah, we got the Dialga boosted. We one-shot a Thundurus from, like, 70%, and then had this Yveltal in this clutch endgame as well. So that was such a fun, that was just such a fun game, and fun debut for Alcremie and what it can do. This wasn't even what, like, the ideal strategy is, which is sack Volk, get Trick Room up, Dynamax Dialga, and then Decorate on your first turn of Dynamax. But it still ended up working out really, really nicely for us and gave us the extra burst of damage that I'm sure my opponent was not expecting. So what a fun way to get things started here. Next match here, and we are up against the Shedinja Kyogre stuff, but actually the original version of this team has Kingdra. So I have no idea what the sets are then. The original version is like Focus Sash Shedinja, Psychic Seed Indeedee, White Herb Landorus with Swords Dance, Life Orb Kingdra. Trick Room's okay here. I mean, I'm really nervous about Shedinja. Because it just completely walls Dialga, unfortunately. They have Tailwind as well, which is also scary. Indeedee Landorus-T is always a really threatening lead from that composition. Indeedee Landorus is actually a pretty big issue, I think, for me. I don't think I can safely cover all of my opponent's options here. Like, I'm trying to cover for Indeedee Landorus, Zacian Tornadus, Zacian Kyogre. And we don't have Foul Play on Yveltal, which makes things slightly trickier, too. Low key, like, just Yveltal lead is interesting to me. Yveltal, Dialga, Alcremie. This is like a very strong deviation from what you normally do with this team, but I don't feel comfortable going with Volk Dialga and just setting up Trick Room. Because let's say I go Volk Dialga and my opponent goes Indeedee and Landorus. Yeah, it's like I get Trick Room up, but then what? I bring an Alcremie, I can't even Decorate onto Dialga easily with Follow Me pressure. So that's a problem. Let me go with Zacian plus Indeedee. See, so this ends up working out a little bit better, right? Because what I can do on turn 1 is just immediately pivot out Yveltal into Landorus-T. The thing is, it's like, I want to set up Trick Room. Okay, we're still faster than Indeedee with Yveltal. Do I want to set up Trick Room is the first question, then do I want to max Dialga as the second? And I lean towards no, because I can't one-shot Indeedee here anyway. And we are Telepathy, right? So once I get Landorus in, I can EQ the next turn. So I'm thinking Lando and just Earth Power or Protect. It's not a terrible idea to max it either, but it means I can't get Trick Room up then. What do I expect in the back? Shedinja plus Kyogre, I think. Shedinja plus Kyogre. I'm just going for the Protect, but I think that might be a little bit too conservative on my end. Like, we had an opportunity to get an attack off here. I don't know if I need to play so scared with my Dynamax here, because Max Dialga turn 1 is actually pretty strong. Okay. Yep, Follow Me. Because they're probably going to target Yveltal, right? I could see Sacred Sword into Dialga. Or Play Rough, okay. Yeah, so it's kind of a waste of a Protect, but that's fine. I'm fine going for Earthquake here. I think Zacian switching out into Shedinja is a possibility. I am down to Dynamax this turn. It's just, like, if I can knock out Indeedee and get up Trick Room, that would be ideal. So, like, I could just U-turn here, right? Like, part of me is thinking U-turn into Trick Room. I kind of like that, actually. They went just for Follow Me. Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine. I actually think that's really fine. The thing is, if Behemoth Blade is going out into Landorus, who would I want to switch into, right? Probably Yveltal. So I can't Decorate quite yet, but getting up Trick Room right now into this position I think is actually really good. Yep. And then this next turn, I can just switch Yveltal out into Lando again. Because my opponent's team kind of falls off under Trick Room. I have to be so careful though, because Yveltal's my one win condition against Shedinja in this game. Lando with rock type attacks, I guess, is also to an extent. I think we are going to Dynamax Dialga here. The thing about Dynamaxing Dialga is it's just such a nightmare against Shedinja. Okay, bring out Lando. Max. And I like the idea of Quaking to help out against Kyogre. Actually, I'm down to target Zacian here because if they get greedy and don't follow me, we can just KO it. I guess Zacian could just pivot out into Shedinja here, though. What really makes me nervous is ally switch from Shedinja once I commit Dynamax to Dialga. Okay, they stay in. Because I'm expecting Kyogre Shedinja in the back too, but maybe they don't bring Shedinja because I have Yveltal and Lando. And you'd have to worry about Hailstorm. Like, if they don't have Shedinja in the back, I feel amazing about this spot right now, actually. But if they do, yeah, it just gets so much scarier. Oh, they go for Protect. This is exactly... it could be a double Protect, actually. It's not, though. This is exactly what I was saying, you know? Might as well just target Zacian because, like, it forces Indy to have to go for a follow me in this position. The only awkward thing is now I have this Landorus out and I don't want it out. But that's so good, right? Because it's like Kyogre's one of my opponent's main options. Lando-T from their end is still pretty scary, but the thing is now I can Steel Spike and then also switch my Lando back out. So I got more than I even wanted out of that turn. Also, with that, they bring out Landorus, okay. So I don't think they have Shedinja then. That's good to know. So Steel Spiking here is definitely acceptable. Kyogre should be their final one. I kind of expect Swords Dance and Follow Me here. Right? So let's go out into Alcremie. Steel Spike into Indeedee. And then Decorate Steel Spike into Lando, I think is my line here. If you Dynamax Landorus, I think that's even better for me, because, like, yeah, it's something like a Life Orb Helping Hand Max Quake hurts, but because of the defense boost, it shouldn't KO me. And then it means you can't further increase your attack. And the thing about this team is that all it takes is one Decorate from Alcremie to give you such a major advantage quickly. I'm just, like, really relieved to not see Shedinja come out. But I guess, like, it could still be Shedinja over Kyogre as the fourth. I would just be kind of surprised. They're going to Dynamax Landorus. Okay, great. Because this means, I guess the downside is it does mean they get a special defense boost. So, like, the Decorate into Steel Spike probably doesn't KO Lando. But that's fine, I think. It's going to be a close endgame, but having AV Yveltal against late game Lando and Kyogre is also nice. Okay, we'll just go for Follow Me. That's fine. I was wondering if, like, I could get any value if I stay in with Landorus there, but since the Dialga outspeeds the Landorus under Trick Room, like, if Landorus moved before Dialga, then you, like, U-turn to KO and then Steel Spike to KO the opposing Landorus, yeah, that would be great, but that's not how the speed order is here. Okay. Yeah, just a Quake, cool. Yeah, that's fine. It's Dialga, 374 to 230, so 144 damage. Which is, you know, a decent amount, but not the end of the world. Mainly curious about the item on it. Is it White Herb? This is not Life Orb. Could be Lum, could be AV. Kyogre is the last one, yep. The other question I have here is the item on Kyogre, because, like, Scarf is a possibility. And also whether or not a +2 Max Quake KOs it. Because I'm definitely going to Decorate here. Because if we KO Kyogre, Yveltal just wins against Landorus, right? I think I'm okay for Decorate into Steel Spike this turn. I just don't know the... Oh, they actually just forfeit. Okay. I don't think the game was 100% over yet. I think this turn was going to basically determine whether or not I'd have the game won. But there's also, I think, a good chance that the Decorate, if Lando doesn't have any special defense investment, we can just one-shot Lando there. But, you know, they could go for Max Guard into a Water-type attack. Although if you do that, then I get a free switch into Yveltal, I suppose. So the pressure from Decorate was just too strong here in this endgame. So I think what made this one really good for us is that, you know, their early pressure wasn't that scary because Indeedee didn't really do very much. And it's like Zacian is scary, but with us bringing Landorus was like a game changer here. And so I'm glad that, like, even though I deviated from what you normally do with this team, it actually worked out. Because having that Intimidate to slow down the damage output from early Zacian was really important. And if I brought something else, like Volcarona could have worked there, but the thing is Volk's so bad into Landorus plus Indy as a lead or Kyogre Zacian Tornadus Kyogre leads that I just didn't feel comfortable enough with it. So Lando allowed me to get Intimidate off, and then actually getting that U-turn off into Indeedee to get a ton of damage to put it one max move away from getting knocked out was also a big deal, because it meant that I could apply more pressure with the Dialga, and then my opponent not going for follow me with Indeedee also really helped me out here. So yeah, you can see how Alcremie can apply so much pressure, and even though, you know, it didn't actually get Decorate off in this game, we put ourselves in a position where, because we still had 2 turns in Trick Room, you know, we'd get at least 1 Decorate off, and once Dialga gets a single Decorate boost off, it is just in a position where it is so hard to manage. So yeah, let's look for another. Wow. Okay, that's a Leafeon. Shedinja as well. Groudon, Zacian, Insane, Gastro. Leafeon, very cool. Okay, Aleki's definitely not coming out here. Well, I say definitely, but like, yeah, no, I don't think so. I was gonna say, if you have like a flying type attack on it, you can at least hit the Shedinja, like bounce into Dynamax Aleki, but nah. The thing here is that Lando is actually really solid. So who do I drop? All of our Pokemon are quite good. Everything other than Aleki, I should say. They're just so physical, right? Like, I feel like I really should index more on Lando. Maybe I just drop Alcremie in this one. Can I really do that? It's Alcremie. Okay, you know what? I'm down for Lando, Dialga, Alcremie, and Yveltal. I don't know, Volk's so good here as well. Like, I feel like the objective correct decision is probably to drop Alcremie, but like, how often do we get to use Alcremie, right? So, I think the safest approach is probably Volk, Dialga lead, Lando, Yveltal in the back, and it's like, you don't necessarily have to set up Trick Room with this mode. Gastro Incin? Oh, wow, okay. Huh. Now, this is mainly interesting because, well, it's interesting for a couple of reasons, right? First of all, Gastro can apply yawn pressure. It's a relatively passive duel, though. So, like, the damage output's not really there. And I probably don't want to click Trick Room either, but I also don't want to click Max Quake because I don't want to get hit by a yawn from Gastro. Fake Out plus Ice Beam into Landorus would be kind of annoying here. So, like, I'm actually down to just switch out into Alcremie and just Earth Power into the Incin. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's important to conserve Lando if we expect Groudon and Zacian in the back. And basically, like, I do not want to Dynamax or Trick Room, because if I Dynamax and I get hit by a yawn, that's really bad. And if I Trick Room, Gastro can just outspeed me under Trick Room. That's also really bad. So maybe they click Fake Out and Yawn into Dialga here. That would be an excellent play. Oh, actually, no Fake Out at all. Okay. Big Life Orb. Earth Power. Okay. Citrus. Or one of the other berries. Yeah, it's actually Agluav. Parting Shot into Alcremie. Perfect. Now I would expect Yawn into Dialga. Now, Yawn is where things get awkward, right? Like, if I had Draco Meteor, or sorry, Roar of Time on Dialga, turn 1 Dynamax, Max Wormwind into the Gastro would be really powerful here, but I can't go for that. And I think the Yawn pressure is what makes things here really tricky. So where Volk would have been helpful just to redirect Yawn away. I had actually forgotten about Sweet Veil. It's such an additional perk that I didn't even think about that when I switched it in, but yes, that was all intended. Actually puts us in such a nice spot. It's so funny. It's funny. I just literally had not even thought about that as an additional plus, but that's so nice, obviously. What do I want to do here? Like, I want to switch in Lando, right? Ideally. I don't know about this play. I just went for max Steel Spike here immediately. Like, the reason I didn't switch in Lando was because I didn't want to get Ice Beamed. But I went for Decorate Steel Spike. That's so funny though. Yeah, you know, what made the play I did, not even thinking about Sweet Veil. Also, Dialga maxed first here, so I'm wondering if Groudon's slower or they just did not Dynamax. Okay, they're slower. Cool. That's such a... Oh! Wait, is it Gastromaxing? Oh, that's really smart. That's really smart. Okay. We just became an ASMR channel for a quick second. Okay. Christmas Blades, yep. I might just straight up feint to Max Quake here. Oh man, I didn't even just like... we just one-shot Groudon. What is happening right now? Okay. I wonder if they just Quaked into that slot. Because the thing is, that's so risky, because if I just go out in a Lando-T there, you lose so much off the turn. Yeah, they went for Hailstorm instead. Okay, that makes sense. Into Dialga, because it covers for the Lando switch in. Cool. Okay. Not bad then. So, Zacian should be their last one, but I can just pivot the Alcremie out into Lando now. Right? So it should be Yawn, Ice Beam, Earth Power, Protect, maybe Recover instead of Protect, but that would be kind of odd. Zacian comes in, pressure Sacred Sword, but I have the defense boost doesn't matter. Yep. One thing is like switching out into Lando here is so obvious, but like pretty sure Dialga still takes the Sacred Sword. Yeah, so let's just do it anyway. Go out and Quake. Was not expecting to get a Decorate off. That was a pleasant surprise. If I get one shot by Sacred Sword here, though, I probably lose the game. But like, do I really have any other outs or any other options here? Max Guard. It doesn't really accomplish much. That was dangerously close. I actually might still be in bad shape because I lose both Pokemon here. Assuming they Hailstormed into the Alcremie slot, which I think they should. Yeah, the thing you could do with this Dialga is give it Max Wormwind instead of Protect or one of the defensive or Steel Spike / Quake. But Protect is really nice installing out your opponent's first turn to Dynamax. The thing is, though, I feel decently confident with an Yveltal plus Alcremie endgame here. Yep, and they did correctly Hailstorm. If they Quake there, they would lose the game, but there's little incentive to Quake. Landorus actually hangs on, but yeah. It does not after Hail, unfortunately. If we hung on after Hail there, I think we'd also just have it one. Like, the problem is now they bring in Yveltal, or sorry, Incin, and they can get a Fake Out off. But because we have AV here, I feel fine. Like, I think I can just protect the Alcremie. Can I actually? Because I don't want them to just KO Alcremie with Fake Out plus Quake, right? Because if we get a Decorate off with it, we should win the game. I think it's likely they double up onto Yveltal here, but even if they do, it's fine because I can just Oblivion Wing the next turn. Basically, this turn, like... Oh, I do have Snarl as well, actually. Hold on, because of Snarl... I'm actually down to go for Snarl here into Decorate, I think. Because a single Decorate should win us the game. Barring really bad sleep rolls. The decision to Dynamax Gastrodon in this game, though, I thought was smart. I kind of tunnel visioned on the maxing the... Okay, Fake Out into Alcremie, yep. So we'll get Snarl off. It's a good chip onto the Incin, which is what I'm looking for here, as well as the special attack drop on Gastro. So I'm curious if they doubled up into that slot. They did, okay. This is a little frustrating. Do we feint to this? I don't think so. Okay, good. And we're also faster than Gastrodon here. I guess the question is, are we faster than Incineroar right now? Because, like, Protect Oblivion Wing was the other play there, but I didn't want to get hit by Fake Out plus a Max Hailstorm. And my play covered for anything other than the double up, and even with the double up, it still wasn't that bad, right? And they can't yawn me right now either, which is good. .72 speed. Instant should be faster. I think the play here is just Oblivion Wing. It's not going to KO, but that's fine. And Protect. Because then I can Oblivion Wing Decorate the next turn, and that should put us in a game-winning position. Like I said, at that point, then it's just... First of all, Gastro, I guess, has to KO the Alcremie before you can actually get Yawns off. So this won't KO, but that's fine. I could have gone for Help Me Hand this turn, but I don't want Alcremie fainting to Earth Power. Cool, they Blitz an Alcremie. And just Ice Beam. Okay, we also need to avoid a Freeze. That's the other part of the equation. Oh, that does so little damage, though. Nice, no Freeze. Okay, that should put us in a game-winning position. It's so tempting to click Snarl here, but, like, there's no reason to risk a miss, right? Like, I could Decorate and Snarl, but let's just guarantee the KO onto Incin, because this is the main problem for me. So Oblivion Wing into Incin, and then just Decorate into Yveltal. That gets the knockout onto Incin, gives the Yveltal the +2 boost. Gastro's also has -1 special defense. So at that point, even after you KO Alcremie, yeah, you can yawn Yveltal, but 3 Ice Beams isn't coming close to knocking out Yveltal, plus Oblivion Wing just heals back all the damage that you do. So having Yveltal in this endgame is honestly fantastic right now. I am so happy about Alcremie's output today. I got a lot more value than I expected to across all 3 games. I guess in game 2, like, we didn't actually really get a Decorate off, but we were in a position where we still had 2 turns of Trick Room to work with, and still had 1 turn of Dynamax Dialga, which was excellent. So in this endgame position, basically, like, I don't want to click Snarl, because if I miss it on Incin, and then Incin outspeeds Alcremie and Flare Blitzes me, and I don't get the Decorate off, like, we're probably still okay, because I think Yveltal wins the 1v1 against Gastro anyway. But this just puts us in a significantly better position, because, like, you can't even click Yawn this turn. So you have to go for... Ice Beam Freeze on the Yveltal is probably the win con, but they're going to Earth Power into Alcremie. Cool. That doesn't even KO us. Wow. This is... I mean, Alcremie was just next level here. Jeez. Okay. So now we can just Helping Hand Oblivion Wing. This is definitely a really interesting game. I feel like we had a pretty big lead with our lead. Honestly, yeah, forgetting about Alcremie's ability for a quick second was such a funny moment, but it gives us so much more value, because if my opponent does actually get Yawn off there, I don't even know what I would do from that angle. But now we get Oblivion Wing to finish off Gastro. Actually, it does survive. That's pretty impressive, but it did have the special defense boost from Max Quake, so that makes sense. But because Alcremie hung on, it means you can't even click Yawn. So I think, yeah, Ice Beam Freeze at least gives you a better shot, but to be honest, then Alcremie can just click Dazzling Gleam. So, like, I don't really think there's too much I could do. And since we outspeed here, yeah. That's the nice thing about using Yveltal with this team, is that, like, Dialga is the main max option most of the time, and then Yveltal is so good with Decorate boost in the late game, post-item max. Okay, Gastro protects. I mean, really not much it can do in this angle. It does confirm that it's not the Recover set, though, so it's Earth Power, Ice Beam, Yawn, and Protect, which is, like, the most standard set by far running around at the moment, but Recover is always just one of those moves you do want to, like, cover for on Gastro. And in this angle, no need to click anything else. Heat Wave can miss. They resist it. Sucker Punch. Yeah, I guess you could Sucker Punch here because they don't have Recover either, but, yeah, I mean, Oblivion Wing is just obviously the best option by far. So, very fun debut for Alcremie here. I mean, we've used it on the channel before. I haven't, like, and this team is interesting, right? Because, like, Yveltal plus Dialga, definitely not a restricted core that you see very often at all. And funnily enough, like, I didn't really execute the main strat, which was lead Volk, sack Volk, you know, bring in Alcremie, and then Decorate. But that's the thing, right? In Pokemon, it's like, you might have, like, a good general game plan with your team, but then you have to adapt it based off the teams that you're going up against. And none of the teams we went up against here, like, that made too much sense against. This, the team that my opponent had here, actually, I think you can, like, make the argument for. But it actually wouldn't have worked super well given their Instant plus Gastro lead. So, yeah. Anyway, though, I hope that this episode has opened your eyes to how good Alcremie can potentially be in the format, especially with the right support, and how you can win with unexpected restricted duos using Dialga and Yveltal specifically. So thank you so much as always for watching. Details for the team are in the description below. Leave a like if you enjoy. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.